This is Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies, and you're watching Chaos TV.
Hello everyone, we are here in Ruisrock in Turku, Finland with Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies. So first of hello and welcome to Chaos TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So you just played a show here at Ruisrock. How did the gig go?
Oh, it was cool. It was, as I said, it was a little bit difficult getting here. We had our flight and then had to drive here and got here less than an hour before we played. And it was greeting us with rain, but it was all good. It's all good.
So last time when you played here, you played in club in the fall. So do you have any memories from the show back then?
Yeah, I got good memories from the show. It was actually it was a really good crowd, and as everybody said, we always do the comparison. I say, what's the crowd like? And friends said, oh, it looks like a Venice crowd. And so that's always cool when you see that. There wasn't that element here today, but I think that's the difference between doing your own show and playing at a festival.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So you also played at the Oregon Music Festival with your previous bassist, Robert Trujillo. So how was it like to share the stage with him again?
Oh, it was cool. Just got a call a couple days before, and I said, hey, you want to do maybe a song or two? And we said, sure. And so we called up Nico and said, do you know any Infectious Groove songs? Because we needed two guitar players, so we taught him some songs, and Robert came down, and then he said, how about this and this? And then it ended up being 5 songs, so we did 2 practices, and it was a really good time. It was really fun, and I think everybody had a good time.
Did he bring any good memories?
Oh, I'm one of those ones. I don't drink, I don't smoke, so I always remember things. You know what I mean? It's like people that party go, hey, remember that time? And you're like, oh yeah. So we're not like that, but it was. I think one of the ones where, as Dean said, we got in there and started playing. It just kind of felt like it did when we first started with Infectious. So it was cool. It was a lot of fun, and it was a very comfortable situation.
So I watched a video interview from YouTube and you said in the interview that you have a new album coming out in the fall. So what's the situation with that at the moment?
Well, right now it's just scheduling, because we're here for a month, and then we get back for 2 days, and then we go to do 3 more festivals in Canada, and then it's one of my son's birthdays, and then right now we're just seeing if we can make the deadline to get it out this year. So hopefully we'll get it out the end of October, but it's going to take a lot of work and a crazy schedule, and everybody's got to decide if they want to spend 27-hour days kind of like to get all the artwork and everything done, and then commit to one of the problems is we got so many songs to like narrow it down, and then to do that kind of situation is actually a little bit harder than we thought, so and for us it's like, I think one of the things that we know is next year it'll be the 30th anniversary of our first record, and so we don't look in terms about like getting out the record now. It's like thinking in terms of what it'll be like 10, 20 or 15 years from now, like that type of thing. So we kind of go, almost, if it's been this long, there's no point to rush it and go, I wish we would have done this and switch that one, maybe we should have put that song on, that type of thing and stuff. So
do you have like any special plans to celebrate the milestone for the first album? Play maybe some special set somewhere, or
we don't really get too sentimental like that. I'm sure there'll be a couple people that'll ask if we'll do a few things, and we'll probably say no to most of them, but we'll see. I don't really, if it's the right situation maybe, but yeah, I'm not a sentimental person.
So what can you say about the new album and the tracks you have written so far? What kind of material can we expect to hear?
Well, I think with Suicidal, and I think when we're at the best is when a record comes out and it doesn't sound like what other people are doing. And like I was saying before, is to us, it's not how it fits in now. It's more important how someone that isn't even born right now, when they're 15 years, when they're 16, 20 years from now or whatever, when they hear it for the first time, what they say. And I think too much of music is it's like that instant gratification. It's kind of like eating chocolate, kind of thing. It's like people want it now, and then later on it kind of sounds very dated. And I think that's why our first record, it doesn't sound dated. We were doing something and we did it really well, and we weren't really concerned with what was going on at the time, and nobody was doing what we were doing. And so that's more important to us. And I think that a number of our records have had people say, I don't like it, and then years later go, wow, I love that record. And I think a lot of times people listen and they want to hear something, they expect to hear something. And there's a lot of bands, it's like they have a new record and it's like, if you didn't know, you'd sit there, it sounds just like their other stuff, And Suicidal, we don't want to be that band. We want it, when you hear it, to go like, whoa, this is different, and it's not what everyone else is doing. It's like whether it's rock or metal or punk, sometimes some of the songs, they just blend together. They'll play 10 different bands and it's like, is that the same singer? It's all, and you just sit there and you're just like going, whoa. It's like everybody's trying to sound like what they think people want to hear. And that's like a politician. You say a politician tells people what he thinks they want to hear, so they get elected. And we've always had a problem with that. And before we did our first record, one of my best friends came over and said, Mike, that's not music you're doing, you know what I mean? Listen to the radio, you could do that, you got a chance. And I go, a chance to do music that I don't like? No, I don't like what's on the radio, so why would I do that and stuff? I go, I'm not concerned about, we're not doing a record for other people, we're doing it for ourselves, you know what I mean? And at that time it was easy because there was no audience with punk rock, and it's come around the whole sense where now that music doesn't sell, you can do, and I don't get why people don't go out there and say, hey, music doesn't sell, well, let's just do something great. You know what I mean? They're just doing something that fit in, and I've never been someone that wants to fit in,
So I guess you have always followed your own path when it comes to writing music and playing shows. So do you see that as the main reason for your such a long-lasting career as well?
Well, I think I'm a very easy person not to like. That's what people tell me and stuff. But I think the thing is, though, is when people, whether they've seen this before, they haven't, after a show, they know that I'm not going through the motions, that I'm here, and I'm here because I know why I'm here, and I believe in what I'm doing. And same thing, I don't care if other people get it, but they can't say, what, that guy's just going through the motions and stuff. And I think a lot of bands, when you do watch them, you can just sit there and it's like every show is the same and they're going through the motions, and well, yeah, definitely. And so it's like you can't fake the sweat, you know what I mean, and you can't just hit it. So I think that a lot of people, they realize it's like, hey, you know what, we're doing our thing, and you see that some people get it, and a lot of people won't, and that's fine,
You have seen the times of vinyls and CDs and cassettes, and now also digital downloads. So what's your opinion about that, in general?
I don't really have an opinion. Like I said, I guess the best way to say it is because music doesn't sell, you would think that people would sit there and do things that they think is great rather than other people, and it's unfortunate that, and I just think too many people are just, it's the same thing, it's like you got a pattern, you got your logo, you got your pictures, you got your Facebook page, but you got no music, you know what I mean? And then you hear it, it's like, whoa, there's just nobody out there just breaking the rules and stuff, and it's a shame when it's so easy to break them, and I would hate to think that if I was 16 again, like when we started Suicidal, that I'd be looking like these bands and sounding like these bands, and I don't know why there isn't other people out there just going, the proverbial, with the hats, we had them flipped up, that was like our way of saying fuck you, because that was our way, day. It was like, we don't give a fuck, you know? And people just don't get it nowadays. It's like, you know, they want to be, you know, playing in the big festival. They want people to say, oh, you're fucking great, this and that. And it's like, my dad told me, he goes, you know what? Someone says you're fucking great or you're a god, it don't make you a god. And someone calls you an asshole, it doesn't make you an asshole. You know what I mean? It's just words out of their mouth. And when you go back, you know, if your back hurts, it still hurts. If you owe money, you still owe it. You know, your life's the same and stuff. And too many people are looking for someone else to say something, you know, and because they just don't fucking like themselves, you know. And it's easy to understand why they don't like themselves, because they're doing stuff for everybody else. And my dad used to say the sure way to be miserable is try to make everybody else happy, you know, and for the wrong reasons, because, you know, most people, they don't know what happiness is and stuff. And, you know, I was very fortunate that I was, you know, able to learn from my dad and from his beliefs and his convictions and his confidence based on the right reasons and stuff. You know, my dad doesn't have an ego, but as my dad said, you know, you never get anywhere in life till you learn how to say no. And there's like a thing in the Bible that says, for you, if you believe, you'll scream, you'll something at the top of your lungs. So some of the people take things literally, and they're preaching and they're yelling and this and that. What they're saying is to me is you don't, you know, whether you believe in the church, God, whatever, what they're saying is when you say something, you say it with conviction. And it's like my dad said, you know, there'll be someone on the street going, that's all drunk, you're fucking dead, and you laugh, you know, and there's somebody walks up to you and goes, motherfucker, you're dead, and he could whisper it and you're like, oh shit, because he means it. And my dad said, you know what, someone will be like, say something, they'll be like, no, that ain't it. My dad was straight out when something happens, nope. Because if you need me to explain it, I'll talk about it. But no is no. I know why I'm saying it, and that's what it is and stuff. And I'll do my best to explain it. If you can't understand it, then that's your problem and stuff. And that was the one thing my dad said. When you know no is the answer, then you don't back down from that, you know. And that's, you know, one of the things I think is really important. People, especially to these days, they're afraid of what other people are going to think about them that aren't going to be there. And now it's even worse, and I worry about it because my kids, you know, when they get older, because they're worried about Facebook. Fuck Facebook. You know what I mean? You don't live your life on Facebook. It's scary. You know what I mean? You live your life by your actions and stuff.
Life is nowadays, because people are,
it isn't life.
Contacting their friends through Facebook. They don't meet them anymore.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad.
Everyone's like, oh, I gotta post this, I gotta do this and that. It's like, dude, are you living, or are you fucking a two-finger, you know, fucking, you know, voyeur? You know what I mean? It's kind of sad and stuff, you know. So, you know, it's you know, after my kids, when they get older and they'll be doing things, and I have to tell them, you know, it's like a lot of things that you worry about other people's opinion, they're not going to be there. They're not going to be there when you're older. They're not going to be there when you got to pay rent. They're not going to be there when you're hungry, you know. So don't give a fuck about them. You know, do the right things. That's what's right for you. And the analogy my dad always said is like, hey, think about yourself when you're 65 and separate yourself. When that person that's 65 or, you know, 70 that's in the rocking chair, before you do something, that person can say, don't fucking do this to me. What are you doing? No, you know, use that knowledge and stuff. And it's funny, my dad always said, you know, like in the cartoons, and it's probably the same way here, they always have the cartoon and someone's going to do something and there's the angel. He's like, don't do that. You know, he's all whippy, and the devil, come on, what are you scared? And my dad says, you got it backwards. You know what I mean? It's got to be, the good person's got to be, don't be stupid. What the hell are you thinking? Don't do that to yourself. You fucking dumb. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing. You turn it around and stuff, and it's amazing how with just a little bit of, you know, altering things, people could be very, very, very powerful. You know what I mean? And very confident and change a lot of things. You know what I mean? But we spend our time waiting for somebody else to do something, or so we can criticize someone else so we're not responsible, or so we can post pictures.
So, do you still remember the times when you bought your first vinyl?
Well, all there was vinyl, you know what I mean? Cassette was a fucking trend. But I think the thing about the beauty of vinyl when we were young is you went to record stores, and you went to a record store probably 10 times before you bought anything. Yeah. But you held it up and you go, wow, when I get some money, I'm going to get this. And there was
basically.
Yeah, you gotta work for it and stuff, and even as how cheap they were, it was like, you didn't have a job, you're 12 years old, whatever, but you're like, wow, just one day I'm gonna get this and stuff. And then a lot of times you would pitch in with your friends and stuff, and so you put in and you tape it and or borrow it, and someone would scratch it, but it was kind of an experience, and then people would get something and they bring it over, dude, you gotta listen to this, and they buy something, and so you'd always try to go to the record stores, look through the import section, try to find something, and it was experience, and I think that was kind of cool. They don't have that anymore. And
it's too easy.
Well, the problem is, the problem is worse than that, because if you can have 10 million songs at your fingertips, then you sit there and you don't want to listen to anything. You don't want to listen to anything because it's too much, you know what I mean? And so music doesn't have any value. It's just like this whole thing. So it's like I could do it anytime, and it doesn't really mean anything. So
thank you very much for taking time off to do this interview with us, and good luck for the future. Anything you want to say as a closer to your Finnish fans? You can hold the mic.
Suicidal.
Thank you.